Hello, YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting in a Fan. The fan is off right now. It's sufficiently cooler in the apartment for me. The time is approximately 8:51 p.m. and the date is Wednesday, October 31st, 2018. This is the holiday more commonly known as Halloween, but for my fellow witches, pagans, and magical practitioners, it is Samhain. And if you celebrate Samhain, may your ancestors remind you of their love and power. So, a lot of times, I think about things, and I think about a lot of things. And, I'm very happy with how my very first Divine Prosperity Simulcast event went this past May. I'm very happy with how everything unfolded. I'm very happy with how many new doors have opened up for me and for many of the participants, financially and otherwise. Professionally, I'm happy with how it turned out too. However, keep in mind that when I began leading group metaphysical classes, I grew accustomed to a certain level of, for lack of a better term or phrase, professionalism. And I feel and I know that there are certain things that I could have done better. Now, please know that I'm not criticizing myself. I'm not passing judgment on myself. I'm simply stating an observation. And I'm also mindful of the fact that I had taken this massive sabbatical from leading group metaphysical classes. So I really was out of practice with everything that I need to do and have and prepare. So one of the things that's been on my mind for 2019 is what I'm going to lead and when. And, one thing that I am crystal clear about is that I really, from now on, every event that I lead is going to be a simulcast event, which means that it will be an event that I lead in a physical location on a specific calendar date and from a specific calendar time, meaning from this start time to this start time. And it will also be a live online streaming event at the same time as a group metaphysical class. I want to acknowledge Susan Garrett, and I'm acknowledging her because of this amazing testimonial that she had shared on one of my videos, one of my relatively recent videos. And I mentioned her specifically because she was one of 3 participants who watched the video after the fact, meaning that there were how the event unfolded was that there was a specific number of in-person participants, people that happened to live in the New York City area, that participated in person at the location, which was Ripley-Grier Studios, and specifically the location that I call their flagship location, which is on 8th Avenue between West 36th and West 37th Streets, in that section of Manhattan called Midtown. And then there were 2 or 3 participants who were participating live from where they live. I know that 2 live in Utah, and 1 lives in Lower Manhattan, but she wasn't feeling well. So she joined in as a live online streaming participant. And then Susan was one of 2 or 3 participants who watched the event after the fact, meaning that once it was archived, they would watch it. And of course, because they had registered, they can watch it as many times as they want and do everything they want with it. So I'm anticipating that that's what's going to happen in the future, meaning that, especially in 2019, every event that I lead is going to be both a group in-person class, and I'm specifically referencing Ripley-Grier because I know for a fact that Ripley-Grier has the bandwidth for several practitioners to have live online streaming videos simultaneously. And they do. They do. I was very impressed with the overall quality of the streaming. And I do want to quickly ask my awesome audiovisual person something. There were very few, if any, lags, correct? So, and he's nodding his head yes. So, using Ripley-Grier Studios for both for a simulcast event works very well for me. And what I've been divinely guided to do is have the space for an extra hour. That way, my awesome audiovisual person can start setting up everything and make the visual quality even better next time around. I haven't really thought about what I want to lead. I know that I'm definitely going to lead another Divine Prosperity simulcast event. And it's so funny because there was a time when I used to lead Divine Prosperity events and they were only 2 hours long. And the energy was expanding so much and becoming greater and more potent that it had to be 3 hours long. So what I'm being divinely guided to do is have my next Divine Prosperity simulcast event be a 3 hour long event. Now that may seem a lot. That may seem like a lot to some people, but as somebody that led them for years, they go by so fast. They really go by so fast. And it's actually amazing as to how fast they go. Really, how fast they go. And then, of course, I would love to lead a Divine Love Healing event because the last few Divine Love Healing events that I led had to be canceled. And, one thing that I'm crystal clear about is that it's not unreasonable for me to have a minimum acceptable required number of 5 participants. It really is not an unreasonable statement. I'm not charging an exorbitant amount of money for participation. In fact, I'm actually charging less than what I used to charge for group metaphysical classes, which is saying a lot because I don't do the discount thing. I don't lower my fees. If I keep my fees the same. I don't lower them. But this was the one time I actually made an exception and I lowered my fees. If memory serves, I was charging $30 per participant for the Divine Prosperity simulcast event. And at the time that I had been leading group metaphysical classes on a regular basis, I was charging $40 per participant if they pre-registered and $50 at the door. So charging $30 per participant who pre-registers is not an exorbitant amount of money. It really isn't. And the fact that it went down $10 is saying a lot because, again, I don't do things like that. I don't lower my fees. If my fees are a certain level, I either keep them at that level or I raise them, but only if I'm divinely guided. I raised my fees for my psychic services all across the board Sunday, January 1st, 2017. And it was the first time in 8 years that I'd raised my fees. So again, I'm not going to raise my fees or charge more because I'm late on a car payment or I'm short on the rent. I don't do that. And I certainly do not charge more because I think or I know somebody has more money to spend. I've never cared for that practice. It's always felt very wrong to me. and I certainly, I mean, I don't like being judgmental, and I know that people do things for whatever reasons they do things, but I know what works best for me, and I know what makes me feel comfortable. And the fact of the matter is that I know that I cannot do certain things a certain way. Um, Other people can do certain things a certain way, and that's on them, but whatever. So yeah, so that's what's been on my mind a lot lately. And of course, you know, every time I lead an event, it's always going to be, I'm always going to look at how auspicious the date is, both astrologically and numerologically. It's so funny because I love talking about new moon wish lists. They're one of my favorite metaphysical methods for creating and manifesting prosperity. And I do love leading events on new moons, especially prosperity events, because a new moon is such a great time of the lunar month for planting new seeds and planting new intentions. I must admit I'm a bit fanatical about new moon wish lists. I already have a copy of Llewellyn's 2019 Daily Planetary Guide. So I already know how many new moons are taking place next year, and I could swear that there is a black moon next year. A black moon is similar to a blue moon, except that it's the second new moon in the same calendar month. In fact, prior to the Divine Prosperity Simulcast event that I led this past May, I led a Divine Prosperity event at Catland on Friday, September 30th, 2016. And that was the date of the Black Moon in Libra. And it was a very, very, very powerful night. There was a lot of magic that night. And yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to having that. And if there is a black moon next year, I don't remember offhand, but I think so. But if there is a black moon next year, I might very well want to lead at least one event on that night, and we'll see how magical that night is. And there is something that I want to start doing again, and offering it to the people who avail themselves of my psychic services. I haven't done it in a very long time, and I keep forgetting to remind people about it. I keep forgetting to tell my clients, by the way, this is available to you. And I know that it's because, so many things are happening and so many new doors are opening up for me, and my side position of employment is more demanding, and I've become almost fanatical about household chores. So all these things, it's like, oh my God, I keep forgetting. So, but in the meantime, I will, once the events are officially scheduled, I'll make sure to include that surprise in that information. I can surprise you every now and again. At least I'd like to think that I can. But in the meantime, YouTube, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already done so. I cannot over-recommend making sure that you click or tap the bell icon. That way you will receive a notification every single time I upload a video. And there are more videos in store. I'm actually massively behind on videos. I mean, for me to say, well, am I massively? Yeah, actually, I am massively behind. There are, right off the top of my head, 5 videos that I have yet to record. And if I have 5 videos that I have yet to record, then that means that there are 10 that need to be recorded ASAP. But I think that for the rest of the next few days, I'm gonna take it easy with videos, and just start to really look at the videos that I'm gonna record next week. But in the meantime, and of course, please periodically check to make sure that your bell icon remains clicked or tapped, because there are a lot of YouTube channel content creators who are thoroughly convinced that YouTube is deselecting that bell icon, that bell notification. And I have had that experience personally. I'm not going to say it was YouTube, but I am going to say that there were 3 YouTube channels that where I stopped receiving notifications that they were uploading videos. And I was like, wait a minute. What? So I know of what I speak. And of course, if you have not already scheduled your sacred session with me, whether it is an intuitive card reading or an energy healing treatment or a private metaphysical class, I highly recommend you do so as soon as possible. I have availability left for both November and December of 2018. There is a beautiful, magical, and metaphysically oriented 2019 appointment calendar that will ship in exactly 13 days. And once I receive that appointment calendar for 2019, I will be scheduling January through April of 2019, which means that my availability will decrease considerably. So I do highly recommend that if your divine guidance is telling you to have a sacred session with me, follow that divine guidance and absolutely give yourself permission to pray to the divine to be provided with everything you need to avail yourselves of those sacred sessions, whatever it is, including but not limited to money, time, transportation, childcare. I promise you the universe will come through for you because the goddess always provides. And with that, YouTube, I wish you a good night, I wish you a happy Halloween, and I wish you a sacred Samhain.